Back at it, this time in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm parked at some sort of school technical center that has a lot of car culture. That's the only way I can describe it. They all rolled up about a half an hour ago in various states of engine revving and driving display. It was entertaining. And Jorge, the mighty SUV, fits in kind of nicely, although I did park in this adjunct annexed parking lot. Anyhow, need to get kitted up. I have a 50-mile route mapped out here, another loop that I am borrowing from somebody else on Ride with GPS. Should be a lot flatter than yesterday. A whole lot flatter. Half as much, if not less. Little breezy, but nothing terrible, and so much sunshine. Not a cloud to be seen. Little crickety bugs are chirping. Should be great. Work on those tan lines. Soak up some vitamin D. Use today very much as active recovery. My body is starting to build up the fatigue. Still have the legs, still have a little bit of power when I need it, but man, oh man, the not waking up with that spring in my step, or at least the spring is there, but it's quickly reminded that there's a lot of tension in my quads. So need to save a little bit so that I can make it up the final ride in Hawaii. So looking forward to this one. I will hopefully pass by some interesting sights to point out. The drive down was filled with all sorts of tourist markers saying this thing and that thing and the other thing. Some plantations, some mansion house, some other things. So hopefully this route takes us around some of those. See you in a little bit. 50. Thanks, South Carolina. South Carolina, number 35. 35 50-mile rides in a row. 15 states left. That was exactly what I needed. I'll use my head to block the sun for you. Just perfect active recovery day. 2,000 feet of rolling roads, 2,000 feet of rolling vertical gain. The wind was tolerable. You can feel it, but it's not really there. Although, let's see if I can get that flag from the post office in this shot. Where is that flag? Oh well. Can't really see it. It's just, there was a little bit of wind. There's not a lot of wind. It wasn't much of a factor. You could feel it when it was behind you. You could feel it when it was in front of you. But for the most part, it wasn't a whole lot. Like I said, I just needed roads where I could just sit and lightly pedal just to bring a little bit of recovery into the body. Might want to try to do that for a couple of more days. I know the Florida day looks like it could also be an active recovery day, but we'll wait and see. I have people that I'm going to try to meet in Alabama in a couple of days, and then also have another surprise. I'm not going to tell you. Tomorrow I'm alone, but there's a surprise coming. So stick around for that. And let's just do a quick recap summary of today. Nothing really stand out scenic wise. Notable were the number of churches that I passed again. I understand I'm in what's referred to as the Bible Belt. I get it. But stark number of churches on the roads that I was on. And I was on kind of the same road. I'd pass one, and then a mile down the road I'd pass another one, and so on and so on and so on. So just, that was the observation. Nothing terribly super scenic. There was something where a battle took place, and I saw the sign, but every time I saw it twice. Once I was going down a hill, so it flashed by really quickly. The other time it was facing the opposite direction as I was headed up a hill, and I tried to get my eye line to make out the sign, but it appears to be a Civil War battlefield that is recognized. That was a really cool section, fun, scenic, swooshy, twisty little road. I got a little picture of me going up the backside of one of the valley climbs. Nothing major, 7, 8, 9% I think is where it topped out. Nothing overly long today either. And like I said, the roads rolled really well. There were a few sections where you're on this 2-lane, well-used highway, I would say it's called. One of them had Anchor in the name. The other one was Route 221. They might have been the same thing for all I know. I'm map challenged when I'm out there. There was no shoulder. There was a minimal shoulder, right? Let's be fair. On one of them, there was no shoulder. On the other one, there was a minimal amount of shoulder. But the problem was they had ground rumble strips into where the white line was. And the shoulder that was there was left with, a foot or so, which was enough for me. But then when there was debris in the road, you kind of had to jump across the rumble strips and into traffic. And there was, at times, semis, tractor trailers, cars, trucks, buses, right? So just enough to make it a little too dangerous. But overall, the roads were fine. The scenery was neutral. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it just kind of was. Surprisingly, where I am, there's no development. It's just kind of a, I don't want to use the term sleepy, but it was very tranquil, very calming, very underdeveloped, which is a stark contrast to a lot of the other places I've ridden. So kudos for those folks who live out there and how they enjoy that particular lifestyle and how they've maintained it. It was great for what I needed to do today. I appreciated that. But as for stars rating goes, this was a 2-star route. Not because I didn't like it, but the amount of time that you're on those busier roadways, the lack of anything significant to define it other than it just being neutral and bland. You know, it just was what it was. With a group, it might be a different dynamic, but I wouldn't want a group on those roadways that have the heavy traffic and the rumble strips. So it's one of those give and takes. But I'll give it a little caveat. It's exactly what I needed today. I loved it. The warm sunshine, pleasant drivers that were there when I did have to deal with traffic. So it's a 2-star. I'm a 2-star with some love. Off to Georgia.